Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 703, we're going to talk about Gyome, the Master Chef. So for 4 mana, we get a 5/3 Troll Warlock, and it was so hard. So are people altering this to become Gordon Ramsay or Master Chief from... Anyway. 5/3 Trample. At the beginning of your end step, you create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn. So, it's only going to apply on your turn. Even if we can flash, it doesn't trigger. But you can spend one and sacrifice a food. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap. Now, I went to... it was a random place with this. So I started off with food, right? Or the food cards that I had. Which is Wicked Wolf, Savvy Hunter, Bacon to a Pie. Yeah, I know, I never thought I would use that card. Giant Opportunity, Fierce Witch Stalker, and Trail of Crumbs. That being the food that I had for those two colors. And I knew that wasn't enough. I knew it wasn't. So, I had to go somewhere else. And your first thought is creatures entering the battlefield over and over. So, that's going... Let's jump over to the ramp, because there's a lot of creatures in there. We have the Llanowar Elf, Elvish Mystic, Elves of Deep Shadow. Creatures in the battlefield, we're going to get food. We can probably use that to keep our commander alive, right? In the event of an unfortunate board wipe. I do have some spell Rampant Growth, Search for Tomorrow, Into the North. Yes, I'll be honest with you, how I stumbled across Snow was the new duel that we got in Kaldheim. So I was like, frozen food, okay, I can go with it. And most of the, not all the basic lands, but most of the basic lands are in fact snow and explosive vegetation. But then I got into like Civic Wayfinder and Wood Elves. These are great ETB creatures, right? So you play them, they bring a land, what have you. It's a creature entering the battlefield. So it works. Wood Elves works like Untamed Wilds-ish, kind of. I'm sure there's a better analogy there. But then we also have Reclamation Shade and Acidic Slime, which are both green creatures that come into play and do a thing. So we want to keep casting creatures, obviously, because that's what triggers our commander. So I thought things like Stampeding Wildebeest, it's a decent sized creature for the mana cost, but the quote unquote downside is that at the beginning of your upkeep, you return a green creature you control to its owner's hand. So probably going to be one of those creatures that do a thing when they come into play. Redundant copies, Stampeding Cerro, and Roaring Primodox is actually just a smidgen better. It's easier to cast, and it just says a creature, so you can return black creatures too. Even though as of yet, I think we've only seen green. But that's where I kind of went off the rails. Yeah. I don't know any other way to do it other than just start showing you. Slivers. I don't think I've ever done a black-green sliver deck. So, yeah, I just... I lost my focus so bad with this deck. But let's go through these slivers, shall we? Mana Weft, Mind Lash, Metallic, Virulent. Now, Virulent Sliver is... Green is, of course, one of the key colors to a sliver deck, and we're already in green. But like Mana Weft and Virulent, Gemhide, all, cornerstones of a sliver deck. I have Clot Sliver, Crypt. I'm just not going to say Sliver over and over. Sliver Smith, Frenzy, Spinneret, Muscle, Quick. Now, I really like me some Quick Sliver. Gosh, that's hard to say. But that way you can, flash it out and block or what have you. Predatory, the Sliver Construct, Spectral, Basal, one of my personal favorites, Root Sliver, Reflex, Haste in green, right? Venser's Personal Sliver, the Might, Spitting Sliver, that black creature granting first strike, and lastly, Venom Sliver. Slivers have Death Touch. Now, you saw the Poisonous Sliver in there, and then, it gives poison counters, but it's different, right? But this says Sliver creatures you control have Death Touch. Well, Kaldheim also gave us Finn the Fangbearer, saying that whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage, the player gets 2 poison counters. So that's awesome, especially with your, most of your creatures being Slivers, and if you've got the Death Touchy thing, the only thing that can make it better is if all your creatures are Slivers. So we've got the Hive Stones. So now your Llanowar Elves and your Wood Elves and Stampeding Wildebeest are all Slivers and all get these abilities as well. And Vampire Nighthawk and Thornwheel Archer just naturally have Death Touch. It's not necessarily per se a Death Touch deck, or not necessarily a Infect or Poison deck, even though we are running Triumph of the Hordes. But, it's got that Axis to win. Little bit of card draw with Rites of Flourishing and Read the Bones. I put Loyal Guardian in because this is just an awesome team pump. I mean, it really, really is. Let's see. Brooding Sauron. Or Brooding Saurion. Not Brooding Sauron. There's no white wizards here. This card does not see enough play, and maybe I just put it in there just for Jason Alt. But this way, nobody can steal your stuff. Boreal Outrider. I like this because it's a snow card that helps out all your non-snow cards. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if snow of any of that spell's colors was cast, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1 counter on it. So, I mean, they're going to enter bigger. Orin Viper and Plague Stinger are just personal favorites of mine. The fact that we don't have a whole lot of flying, and this has Infect, and if it can get Sliver bonuses, hey, no, more power to you. Especially, that tribal unity. So let's look at some removal, shall we? Mystic Repeal. I want to take a second to talk about Mystic Repeal. I really like cards, Deglamor, Mystic Repeal, stuff like that just shuffle things back into their library. That is the perfect place. In the graveyard, it's just, there's so much access to the graveyard that we have. I mean, we have access to the largest card pool this game knows. So, yeah. Shuffling it away and it not being there to regrowth or reanimate. Nice. Tribute to the Wild. Each opponent. Of course, Naturalize. I classify Golgari Charm as removal, destroys target enchantment, but regenerating your team is not bad either. Blood on the Snow. There again, kind of goes with the snow theme. I needed a wipe. And Murder. Now, our non-basic lands, there's nothing real special to write home about here. Of course, we have the Woodland Chasm, because that's what led me down the frozen food route. Blighted Woodland, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse. I don't know about this Shimmer Drift Veil, but I figured we could try it, Golgari Rot Farm, Tainted Farm, Witherbloom Campus, Jungle Hollow, and Golgari Guildgate. And that is it for Gyome? Gyome. That's probably closer. So, yeah, I just went crazy out on left field, but I can almost guarantee that there's not another deck like that out. It's weird, I know. I'm actually kind of stoked to play it. I really, really want to play it. Do I have high expectations of it? I don't know. I can see it going either way. But there is something about slivers, 703 on the wall. There's something about slivers that don't win you a whole lot of friends, you know what I'm saying? If the moment you play the first sliver, the table kind of guns for you at that point. So, I don't know. Yeah, something I hadn't done, so, frozen food with slivers. Who knew? Anyway, that is what I have got for today. I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But it is time to shuffle and cut.